What's up, y'all? Today, you're gonna see the much requested high protein vegan pancake recipe. All right, this is not the same 3-ingredient pancake recipe you see on every other vegan channel with oats, banana, and almond milk. Okay, this is not that. This is totally different. These pancakes are gluten-free, soy-free, and with the trick that I'm gonna show you, they're actually oil-free. All right, this is a very simple recipe. It can be made very simple, but I have doctored it up a little bit to increase the protein and add some more flavor. So I think once you guys see this, you're gonna wanna try and play around with this recipe yourself, and let me go ahead and show you the foundation of this recipe. These are the two must-have ingredients along with water that you will need to make this recipe. Right here we have Besan. Besan is just chickpea flour. You get it at an Indian grocery store. It's very cheap. 2 pounds was about $3.50, and this is the high-end brand that is labeled as 100% gluten-free. Guys, if you're gluten sensitive, make sure you check the brand. Not all of them are labeled as 100% gluten-free. So guys, I'm gonna use 2.25 cups of Besan in this recipe, which is gonna make 2 big pancakes, which is enough to feed 1 grown man, or at least for me, in my opinion. With 2.25 cups, you're getting over 60 grams of protein just in the chickpea flour alone. The other ingredient that you guys are gonna need is this baking powder. Any brand will do, but just please don't make the mistake of using baking soda. I reached in the cabinet one time and grabbed the wrong canister, and baking soda made it taste terrible. So make sure you're using baking powder. And go ahead and get you 2.25 cups measured out. All right, next up, get you a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, a teaspoon of this baking powder, and go ahead and add that in to the dry ingredients. And if you want, I usually use a heaping teaspoon. You can add a little bit more just to top that off, depending on how much you go. Really, this is kind of variable. I've found that the more baking powder you add, the fluffier the pancakes are, but I've modified this recipe to where it doesn't need a tremendous amount by some of the other ingredients I add on. The next couple ingredients I show you guys are going to make this a thick and fluffy batter. Now, if you're not gonna add any of these extra ingredients, you might wanna experiment with adding a little bit more baking powder. So what you see in front of you is PBFit or peanut butter powder. This stuff is legit. It has 8 grams of protein in 2 tablespoons. And let's be clear, guys, I don't really measure when I add this stuff to the recipe. I just go big heaping spoonfuls. So this is how we're doing it around here. I'm gonna go ahead and give it usually 2 big heaping spoonfuls, but because I got the camera, they weren't as heaping as I like to make them. So that's 3 big spoonfuls of PBFit into that. It's gonna really thicken it up. Next up, I'm gonna add 1 heaping spoonful of chia seeds. You guys already know the deal with these, but we're gonna get some extra protein and a little bit of omega-3 fatty acids. So it's a little bit hard with the camera on one hand. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there, and since that wasn't a real full spoonful, we're gonna go ahead and get a little bit more. We're doing this makeshift style just to show you guys this recipe. Get the chia seeds in here, and you may notice I'm gonna do this in the NutriBullet, not in a mixing bowl, because I want to get these ground up, and on top of that, man, it just happens so fast in the NutriBullet. I'd rather not have to mix it with a whisk. Next up, I'm coming with a heaping 1/8 of a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. You don't want to go too heavy on that, and you can always add cinnamon on top of the pancakes once they're done. But I find that that taste of ginger and clove and cinnamon really goes nicely inside the actual batter recipe. Y'all, I'm gonna be real. You can put a half a banana or even a whole banana in this recipe, and it will make it super thick, like super thick. But because I'm using the NutriBullet and I don't have a Vitamix, I don't have the big carafe. If I had the big carafe, I'd probably toss a banana in it. It doesn't need it, it's optional, but you can do it if you want to. Here I've got a hot pan that I've brought to just below medium heat. So just 1 click below medium heat. And the number 1 question you're gonna get is, how do you make pancakes without having them stick? Okay, this right here is cornmeal. I buy organic cornmeal at the bulk section of my grocery store. And I came up with this, guys. You can use oil, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna show you guys how I make an oil-free pancake without having it stick. You gotta be careful here. Don't spill this all over your kitchen. But what you're gonna do is just dust the pan with this cornmeal. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you wanna cover the whole surface that this pancake is gonna lay on. I'm gonna show you there's more to this method than just dusting with cornmeal. Now this is a hot pan, you guys can see. I'm actually gonna turn it down slightly to a medium-low heat because you don't want this pancake to burn. Almost forgot, guys, we gotta get this blended up. Okay, so I use about 1.5 to 1.75 cups of water in the dry ingredients, depending on how much peanut butter powder or chia seeds I threw in there. And if you add a banana, you're gonna wanna add a little bit more water. But baseline, I go with 1.5 cups of water. Y'all, this is when it gets kind of ghetto. I broke some of the tabs on this cup, so I gotta get in here. Don't do this at home, guys. But you gotta get in there and get it. Gotta make it happen. Okay, this batter will thicken up. It's a little bit thin for right now, but this is perfect for getting started because it will thicken up while the first pancake is cooking. Now, this is the part, guys, that you got to be cautious about. This is the technique right here that you're not going to learn anywhere else. I got that cornmeal sitting on the hot pan. I got the batter. You want to pour it, minimize the distance between the pour and the pan so it doesn't spread the cornmeal all over the place. You want it to just sit right on top of the cornmeal, and then pour it in a way that you keep pouring on top of what you've already poured. That way it just spreads the pancake further out. You're not actually pouring the stream right on top of more cornmeal and spreading it out everywhere, because you want that cornmeal to sit there. And then pour it, make it get real thick. Enough. I'm dying, guys. I'm dying. I'm breathing cornmeal. You only get one take on this, guys, so make sure you get it right. But that's the deal. You see what's going on here. We got the pancake now on top of the hot pan with the cornmeal. This is a labor of love, guys. I'm doing this because I'm hungry, but also because I want you guys to see how it's done. And it takes a while because you don't want to cook this at a medium-high heat. You want to cook it at a low-medium heat. And what I like to do, guys, is wait until this pancake gets thick enough that when you touch it, like nothing comes off on your finger. So obviously it's going to take a while. I'd say it's going to take maybe between 5 and 10 minutes, depending on the heat that you have. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this cook for a minute, and I'll show you guys what it looks like once it's ready to flip. While you're waiting for that to cook, go ahead and cut up some berries or banana or whatever you want to put on top of this pancake. And while I was doing that, this thing progressed to another level. It's getting close, it's not quite ready. You can see that it is starting to get those holes to appear, but still a little bit moist in parts. To be honest with you guys, my stove is not exactly quite level, so some of that batter might have drifted towards one end of it. Your results may vary, guys, but just wait until it's a little bit more done than this. I'll try to show you what I'm talking about when it comes time to flip it. Y'all, it's probably been about 8 minutes or so. We're getting real close to where you want to flip it. You can see there are parts of this pancake where I can touch the top of it and I'm not getting any batter coming off. Like I said, my stove is kind of ghetto, so there's some stuff up top where it's kind of pooled up. Maybe give this one more minute and then we're gonna go ahead and flip it. I don't know. I'm saying let's go ahead and do it. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed, guys. Y'all about to witness some straight gangster moves right here. You can't hesitate. You just gotta come with it like that. One-handed. What? So as you can see, folks, this is what we're talking about. The way I poured that pancake onto the cornmeal, it was real light pour, real slow pour, and there's only a couple spots where that batter actually got right onto the hot skillet so it doesn't stick. I just did that one-handed, so you can't say you can't make pancakes without oil or butter because they'll stick. I just showed y'all. And that cornmeal crust gives it a nice crunch too, so you get like a crunchy pancake crunch. Not knowing, y'all not knowing. Naturally, that second side is not gonna take as long to cook as the first side. Now, while we were waiting, yeah, the batter did thicken up a little bit. I ended up adding some water to it, and then it got kind of thin looking. So I went ahead and added another heaping spoonful of that peanut butter powder to it, and now it's a pretty good consistency. So once that first pancake comes off, I'm gonna dust the pan again with some cornmeal, just repeat the dusting process, and then I'm gonna put down a second pancake. So you get lots of food when you do it this way. After a few minutes, just wanna check and see how it's looking underneath. I think we're getting close, guys. As you can see, some of that corn flour or cornmeal ends up staying on the bottom of that pan even after you flip it, so it doesn't really stick. I'm gonna go ahead and say this pancake is done, folks. This pancake's done. So I'm gonna dust this up again with a little bit more cornmeal. All right, second pancake is going down, and you can just repeat this process as much as you need to. See what I'm saying? You don't want to pour it real fast. You don't want to pour it directly onto the cornmeal once you get a little bit of the pancake started. Just keep pouring it back into itself. Yeah, so that's gonna be a second big boy pancake right there. Y'all see what time it is. I mean, this is as big as my hand. I have large hands. This will fill you up. This has the combined amount between these two pancakes is gonna have over 70 grams of protein, not counting anything you add on top of it. All right, y'all know your boy is getting hungry. We're about to bring in the maple syrup and a little bit of cinnamon. I'm gonna try to pour this on here without spilling it all over my lap. Just get some maple syrup on that bad boy. You'll figure it out. You find the taste that you like and the flavors that you like, and you can make this pancake. This magic can happen for you too. Now, as you guys can imagine, I'm pretty hungry. I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this food in my body, fool. That's what's about to happen. Time to eat. Let me know if you make this recipe, how it turns out. Now what I want y'all to do is hit that subscribe button, make sure the notification bell is on, and keep it locked right here at Red Pill Vegan. Y'all know what time it is. Pancakes. Next.